I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know what this movie is anymore. Spider-Man 3 is starting to sound like a total jumbled up mess, really. It's over convoluted with a bunch of plots and stories and villains and whatnot. I just don't know what this movie is going to be. It's pretty much starting to sound like a Spider-Verse movie. So I came across a pretty interesting article. And before I get into that, I just want to say Happy New Year, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a fun, well, or rather not fun, but more of a interesting 2020. We had it really had its ups and downs, but for the most part, we made it through. For those of you still watching, thank you for sticking around and watching my videos. I really appreciate it, and that will allow me to segue into allowing you guys to join my Discord. The link to that is down in the description box below. Go ahead and check out my Discord, where you can join and talk about comics, movies, games, and more. It's all there for you guys. You can also meet plenty of people like yourselves who are into the same kind of thing as we are, and myself, of course. And lastly, I want you guys to go ahead and click on subscribe, where I upload content on a daily, or at least I try to. At least these past few days, it's been rather slow. We've been getting rumors that Spider-Man is going to be getting a trailer. At least there's going to be a trailer for Spider-Man 3. And we're hearing different reports about Spider-Man lately, but we never end up getting that trailer for Spider-Man 3 like it was rumored to be. So go ahead and subscribe. 66.4% of you guys who are not subscribed watch my videos. I'd appreciate it if you do subscribe. It really helps the channel a lot. Definitely trying to grow up there. We almost made it to 1,500 by the end of the year, but we're at 1,427 right now at the time of making this video. So please subscribe. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get back to the article. So today we're going to be talking about Ned Leeds, a character that's rather a little interesting in the MCU, but a character that's actually a little bit more interesting in the comics, if I do say so myself. And Ned Leeds has an interesting backstory. If you don't know who he is, he played, he was the Hobgoblin. At least he was the third version of the Hobgoblin. He was mostly, brainwashed and framed to play, to be the Hobgoblin in the comics. So anyways, Ned Leeds could possibly be Hobgoblin in Spider-Man 3. I highly doubt it. Again, this is just rumors. There's no validation. This article does bring up a nice concept art with Ned Leeds in the Hobgoblin costume. So Peter Parker's best friend, Ned Leeds, has always been one of the highlights of the MCU Spider-Man movies and will return in the upcoming threequel. What's in store for him remains unknown, but some new fan artists now imagine how actor Jacob Batalon might look after taking the mantle of the Hobgoblin. So the image is the creation of artist Arkeen Tiagi, who has an extensive back catalog of speculative casting that includes DJ Cotrona as Superman, Cillian Murphy as Doctor Doom, and Anthony Starr as Venom. Although Ned isn't wearing a mask, his features seem to have been contorted by exposure to something unpleasant, while glowing red eyes add a touch of malevolence to the look. If anything, it kind of reminds me of one of the future Hobgoblins that actually took up the mantle. I believe his name was Jason Mason Lawn, or I can't remember him. But one of the future Hobgoblins, right after Ned Leeds, ended up taking on the mantle of the Hobgoblin, who had a variety of the Goblin Serum from Oscorp, very similar to what Norman Osborn took to get the Green Goblin Serum. But it mutated his face and kind of severely scarred his face, making him almost unrecognizable. So I guess that this concept art kind of borrows from that. It's a pretty interesting concept art, but I don't see Jacob Batalon playing on the Hobgoblin character anytime soon. I mean, if you really take a close look at Jacob Batalon in at least the previous movies that he's appeared in Spider-Man as Ned Leeds, he's really based off of Genki from the Ultimate Marvel Spider-Man comics. Genki, who is Miles Morales' Spider-Man's best friend in the comics, looks nothing like Ned Leeds from the comics. Ned Leeds in the comics is just a reporter for the Daily Bugle and a colleague of Peter Parker, who really wasn't around in the comics all that long. He ended up being murdered by the Foreigner in the comics. So Ned Leeds is actually dead in the comics. So to give him a different background, to do a switch up, to make him the best friend of Peter Parker in the movies was a little interesting, but not really to be desired. But he seems to be a very likable character overall. I mean, I enjoyed his performances. He's pretty funny. Jacob Batalon also went through a dramatic weight loss. He looks like an entirely different person. He does look better. And I think because of that weight loss, it could be a dead giveaway that he could be playing the Goblin themed villain pretty soon, but not in the third Spider-Man movie. Maybe perhaps in future Spider-Man movies, like maybe Spider-Man 5 or 6 or something like that. So while Ned's character from the comics, he was originally a reporter colleague of Peter Parker's at the Daily Bugle, whose purpose was to serve as a rival for Betty Brant's affections. He eventually becomes the third face behind the mask of the Hobgoblin, but only after being brainwashed in case a scapegoat was needed, and is ultimately murdered because of it. Despite the difference in characterization, Batalon has regularly made it clear that he would have loved the opportunity to play the masked maniac, and this combined with the significant weight loss he recently revealed has led to speculation that he's being set up as a writer of the Goblin Glider. It's unlikely Ned will take up a villain role in the next film, although since it's already set to feature Dr. Octopus and Electro, it would be hoped that lessons have been learned from a certain one-third entry in the Spider-Man series about the dangers of saturating a story with too many antagonists. In any case, the Hobgoblin was always intended as an imitation of the Green Goblin, who despite being one of Spidey's primary nemesis, has yet to appear in the MCU. Perhaps waiting until Spider-Man 3 then would allow Ned to rise as the villain more organically. So, I think you should give it a little bit more time. Well, the writers and directors, especially John Watts, he should give it more time. I wouldn't want to see a Hobgoblin appearance anytime soon. If they're going to do Hobgoblin, definitely do Green Goblin first. Although I don't know when to expect to see we expect to see Green Goblin. There are rumors that characters such as Willem Dafoe and Kirsten Dunst and the Gwen Stacy actress played by Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, they're all returning. All actors that had anything to do with the Spider-Man movies from the previous Sony Spider-Man movies are supposedly returning for this one. So this is going to be a big movie. It's going to be filled with cameo appearances to the brim. And as I like to call it, and I've called it before in my other videos, I call them gratuitous cameos. And definitely is a gratuitous amount of cameos. And it's going to be ridiculous. But aside from that, I'm actually kind of proud for Jacob Batalon. I'm very proud of him. I'm happy for him for his weight loss. There was actually, I think Jacob can confirm this, but he has been teased and body shamed due to his weight in the previous movies, and he lost the weight. He managed to do it, and he managed to shut those people up that made fun of him. So I'm actually proud of him, and it's a good thing he lost the weight. I mean, he's a young kid. So it's really good for him that he lost all that weight, and now he's going to be able to fit nicely into his villainous costume if he ever gets fitted for a costume, that is. So you let me know your thoughts. Do you think we're expecting to see the Hobgoblin appearance in the MCU anytime soon? Personally, for me, if you're going to do Hobgoblin, just like it is in the comics, he was purposely made and created to be a Green Goblin imitation. So we need to see an appearance of Norman Osborn. We need to see an appearance of the Green Goblin. And for the love of God, please give those Goblin-themed characters a decent costume this time. Like an iteration of like a certain version of the comic book version. I don't want to see all plasticky, rubbery, single-colored theme Goblin suits. I don't want them to look like a Power Ranger villain, that is. Like everybody likes to, talk about. I want some cloth. I want some rags. I want some dirt. I want everything. I want wear and tear. I want all those things. Layers. I really hope they're just not lazy with those costumes. In fact, the Green Goblin costumes and the Hobgoblin costumes are like one of my favorite costumes in the Marvel Comics of all time. They have amazing creativity, especially with the first Hobgoblin iteration. Who designed the costume. He was a fashion designer. His name was Roderick Kingsley, the first Hobgoblin, an actual billionaire, a fashion designer who actually fashioned the Goblin themed costume, made it. So if they're going to take that into consideration, and they should take it into consideration actually, and make the costume because of that reasoning. So if they're going to do Hobgoblin, why not start with the original first Hobgoblin with Roderick Kingsley, then allowing Roger Kingsley to actually fool Ned Leeds into becoming and acting like a stand-in for Roger Kingsley as the Hobgoblin. So I don't know, they have plenty of opportunities to get really creative with this. I really hope it does work out, and I hope we do get to see Hobgoblin at some point in the near future. Anyways, you let me know your thoughts down below, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, Happy New Year to you guys, and here's to a promising 2021. Let's try to make the best of it. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on bell notifications so y'all don't miss anything. And as always, I'll see you all in the next comic panel.